Story 1. I've worked mall security for about 3 years now, and I thought I'd seen everything. Shoplifters, fights over parking spots, even someone who tried to return a half-eaten pizza. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened last Tuesday. Let me give you some context first. Our mall had been having issues with the fire alarm system for weeks. The management kept saying they'd get it fixed, but you know how these things go. Still, we had protocols to follow, and every alarm had to be treated as real until proven otherwise. That afternoon, I was doing my usual rounds near the jewelry section when I noticed her. She was at the premium watch counter, and even from a distance, I could tell she was giving the sales associate a hard time. The poor guy looked exhausted, holding up watch after watch, while she barely glanced at them before demanding to see another. I didn't think much of it at first. Rich customers can be demanding, sure, but that's retail. I moved on with my patrol. About 20 minutes later, the fire alarm went off. The sound is deafening, echoing through every corner of the mall. Immediately, I radioed to my team and started directing people toward the exits. Most shoppers were cooperative, some annoyed but understanding. Parents grabbed their kids, teenagers rolled their eyes, but moved along. Elderly folks took their time, but they moved. Then I got a call on my radio from Marcus, one of our newer guards. "Marcus, I need backup at the jewelry section, 3rd floor. Customer refusing to evacuate." I practically ran up the escalator. When I got there, I found Marcus and the sales associate trying to reason with the same woman I'd seen earlier. She was standing at the counter with her arms crossed, surrounded by at least 15 watches laid out on the velvet display. "Ma'am, there's a fire alarm. We need to evacuate the building immediately." "Karen, I'm not leaving. I'm in the middle of making a very important purchase." "I understand, but this is a safety issue. We need everyone out of the building." "Karen, this is ridiculous. I can clearly tell it's just a false alarm." The alarm was still blaring. People were streaming past us toward the exits, some of them looking at her like she'd lost her mind. "Marcus, ma'am, please. We don't know if it's false until the fire department confirms it." "Karen, I don't care what the fire department says. I've been working with this gentleman for over an hour finding the perfect watch for my husband's birthday, and I'm not leaving until I've made my decision." Sales associate, "Ma'am, I really think we should go. We can hold these watches for you and continue when we come back." "Karen, no, you don't understand. This isn't just about buying a watch. This is an emotional journey. I need to feel connected to the piece before I can commit to the purchase. And right now, I'm not finished feeling that connection." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The alarm was still screaming, and she was talking about emotional journeys with watches. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to insist. If you don't leave voluntarily, we'll have to escort you out." "Karen, you wouldn't dare. Do you know who I am? Do you know how much money I spend in this mall?" "That doesn't matter right now. Everyone has to evacuate." She turned back to the watches, actually picking one up and examining it like we weren't even there. "Karen, I just need 5 more minutes." That's when I nodded to Marcus. We'd given her plenty of chances. We moved to either side of her, and I took her arm gently but firmly. Ma'am, we're leaving now." "Karen, get your hands off me. This is assault. This is discrimination against premium customers." She started pulling against us, but we kept moving toward the exit. She wasn't a small woman, but between Marcus and me, we managed to keep her moving forward. "Karen, this is a setup. I know what this is. The other shoppers are jealous because I was about to buy the best watch in the store. They probably pulled the alarm themselves." People stopped and stared as we walked her past them. Some were recording on their phones. She was shrieking at the top of her lungs now, her face bright red. "Karen, you're all in on it. The security, the sales staff, probably the fire department too. This is a conspiracy by jealous shoppers who can't afford quality merchandise." We got her outside where the crowd had gathered at the designated safe zone. The moment we let go of her arms, she whirled around, still screaming. "Karen, I'm calling my lawyer. I'm calling the mayor. I'm calling the news. Everyone will know about this injustice. The fire trucks arrived a few minutes later. Turns out it wasn't a false alarm at all. Some teenagers had been vaping in a bathroom, and the smoke triggered the sensors. The fire department cleared the building after about 30 minutes. When management announced people could go back inside, Karen stormed back toward the entrance. I thought she was going to file a complaint, but no. She went straight back to the jewelry counter. The sales associate saw her coming and immediately told his manager he was taking his break. Can't say I blamed him. Karen stood at that counter for another 5 minutes, glaring at the watches, before finally storming out empty-handed. She never did buy anything. All that drama, all those accusations, and she left without making a single purchase. Marcus and I spent the rest of our shift filling out incident reports. My supervisor watched the security footage 3 times and said it was the most bizarre thing he'd ever seen. The video of her being carried out while screaming about jealous shoppers made the rounds in our security office for weeks. Story 2. I've been going to the same gym for about 3 years now. It's nothing fancy, just your regular neighborhood place with decent equipment and reasonable monthly fees. I work from home as a graphic designer, so hitting the gym in the late morning has become my routine. It helps me stay active and breaks up the day nicely. That Tuesday started like any other. I pulled into the gym parking lot around 10:30 am, which is usually a quiet time. Most of the early birds are gone by then, and the lunch crowd hasn't arrived yet. The lot was mostly empty except for a few cars scattered here and there. Then I saw it. A white SUV parked diagonally across 3 spots right in front of the main entrance. Not just badly parked, but deliberately taking up 3 spaces. I sat there for a moment, staring at this ridiculous parking job, wondering what kind of person does something like that. I shook my head and found a spot a few rows back. Whatever. There were plenty of other spaces available. I grabbed my gym bag and headed inside. My workout went fine. I did my usual routine, spent about an hour and a half inside, and headed back out. As I was walking to my car, I noticed someone had parked in one of the spots next to the white SUV. A blue sedan, nothing special, just parked normally in a regular parking space. The white SUV was still hogging the other 2 spots. I was putting my bag in my trunk when I heard a car door slam. I glanced over and saw a woman getting out of the white SUV. She looked to be in her 40s, wearing expensive workout clothes that looked like they'd never seen an actual workout. She had oversized sunglasses on even though it was cloudy. She walked over to the blue sedan and just stood there, staring at it with her hands on her hips. Then she pulled out her keys. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. She looked around quickly, not noticing me standing by my car about 30 feet away, and then scratched a long line down the side of the blue sedan with her key. The sound made my stomach turn. She walked around to the other side and did it again. Karen, there. Maybe that'll teach you. She was talking to herself, but loud enough that I could hear her from where I was standing. Then she pulled out a piece of paper from her purse, scribbled something on it, and stuck it under the windshield wiper of the blue sedan. I stood there frozen, trying to process what I just witnessed. Before I could decide what to do, she got back in her SUV and drove off. I walked over to the blue sedan and pulled the note from under the wiper. It read, "Next time, respect personal energy fields. I parked that way because I need space for my aura. Your negative energy damaged my spiritual barrier." This woman was completely insane. I looked up and noticed the security cameras pointed at the parking lot. At least this would be on video. I went back inside and asked to speak to the manager. A guy in his 30s came out from the back office. "Manager, hey, what can I help you with?" "Me. Someone just keyed a car in your parking lot. I watched the whole thing happen. Do you have security cameras out there?" "Manager, yeah, we've got cameras covering the whole lot." "When did this happen?" "Me, like 2 minutes ago. Blue sedan parked near the entrance." He brought me back to his office and pulled up the security footage. Sure enough, the cameras had captured everything. The white SUV parking across 3 spots when the lot was empty earlier that morning. The blue sedan parking legally in 1 spot later. And then the woman keying the car, clear as day. Manager, oh man, do you know whose car that is? Me, no idea. But they're probably still inside working out. He made copies of the footage and we waited. About 20 minutes later, a woman came out and walked toward the blue sedan. We both went outside. Manager, excuse me, is this your car? Car owner, yes, why? Manager, I'm really sorry, but someone vandalized it. We have the whole thing on camera though. Her face went pale when she saw the scratches. She looked like she might cry. Car owner, who would do this? I just parked here normally. I handed her the note. She read it twice, her expression shifting from shock to anger to complete disbelief. Car owner, personal energy fields. Is this a joke? Me, I saw the whole thing. Lady in a white SUV. She parked across 3 spots this morning and got mad when you parked next to her. The manager gave her the security footage on a USB drive and helped her file a police report right there. The cops showed up about 30 minutes later and took statements from all of us. Turns out the white SUV was registered to someone who lived just a few blocks away. The police said with video evidence this clear, it would be an easy case. I gave them my contact information as a witness. About 2 weeks later, I got a call from the car owner. She wanted to thank me for speaking up. She told me the woman with the white SUV had been charged with vandalism and had to pay for all the repairs, which came to over $3,000. The woman also got banned from the gym. Car owner, she tried to argue in court that she was defending her spiritual space. The judge didn't buy it. Me, that's wild. I'm just glad they caught her. Car owner, me too. Thanks again for being willing to get involved. A lot of people would have just walked away. I still go to that gym. Sometimes I think about that ridiculous note about auras and personal energy fields. The parking lot feels a lot more peaceful now without that white SUV hogging 3 spots every morning. Funny how removing negative energy actually works, just not the way she thought it would. Story 3. I've been a receptionist at Community Health Clinic for 5 years now. I've dealt with impatient patients, insurance nightmares, and people who think a sniffle is an emergency. But what happened yesterday made me question everything I thought I knew about human behavior. The morning started normally enough. I was checking people in, answering phones, the usual routine. We were running about 30 minutes behind because one of our doctors had called in sick, so we were down to 2 physicians for the whole clinic. I'd already explained this to about a dozen patients, and most were understanding. Annoyed, sure, but they got it. Then she walked in. She marched up to my desk with this look on her face like she owned the place. I smiled and asked how I could help her. Me, good morning. What's your appointment time? Karen, 10:30. I'm here to see the doctor about my knee. I checked the system and saw her name in the schedule. Me, perfect. I just need to let you know we're running about 30 minutes behind today. One of our doctors is out sick, so we're a bit backed up. Karen, 30 minutes. That's unacceptable. I have things to do. Me, I completely understand your frustration. Unfortunately, we're doing our best with the staff we have today. If you'd like to reschedule for another day when we're fully staffed, I can help you with that. Karen, no, I need to be seen today. Right now, actually. Me, I'm sorry, but there are patients ahead of you who checked in earlier. The doctor will see you as soon as possible. Karen, this is ridiculous. How hard can it be? I have a knee problem. Someone just needs to look at it and give me a brace or whatever. Me, the doctor will evaluate you properly when it's your turn. Please have a seat in the waiting area. She huffed and walked away. But she didn't sit down. She paced around the waiting room for maybe 5 minutes, checking her watch every 30 seconds. Then she disappeared down the hallway. I figured she went to the bathroom. We get that a lot. But after about 10 minutes, I started to wonder. I was about to ask one of our medical assistants to check on her when I heard shouting coming from the back. "Karen, I'll do it myself. I'm not waiting anymore." I jumped up from my desk and ran toward the sound. One of our medical assistants was already in the hallway, looking panicked. "Medical assistant, she's in the supply closet. She won't come out." We rushed over and found the supply closet door wide open. Karen was inside, and I swear I'm not making this up. She had put on medical gloves and was rummaging through supplies like she worked there. "Ma'am, you can't be in here. This is a restricted area." "Karen, I'm tired of waiting. I watched videos on YouTube about knee injuries. I know what I need. I'll just grab what I need and be out of your hair." "Medical assistant, that's not how this works. You need to leave this area immediately." "Karen, don't tell me what I need. I've done my research. I know exactly what's wrong with my knee and how to fix it." She was pulling items off shelves, examining them, tossing them aside. Then she grabbed something that made my blood run cold, a sterile scalpel pack. "Karen, see? This is what I need. I watched a whole video about draining fluid from swollen joints. It's simple." "Medical assistant, put that down right now." But Karen didn't put it down. Instead, she tried to open the package. When the tear strip didn't work immediately, she brought it up to her mouth and started trying to open it with her teeth. That's when our security guard, Tom, came running. He'd heard the commotion from the front entrance where he'd been dealing with a delivery. "Tom, ma'am, step away from the supplies." "Karen, I'm helping myself since nobody here will help me in a timely manner." Tom moved quickly, getting between her and the shelves. He's a big guy, former military, and he has this presence that usually makes people think twice. "Tom, drop what you're holding and step out of the closet. Now." "Karen, you can't tell me what to do. I'm a patient here." "Tom, you're trespassing in a restricted area and tampering with medical supplies. Put down the scalpel and come with me." She finally dropped the scalpel pack, but she wasn't done talking. "Karen, this is discrimination. I have a medical emergency, and you people are more concerned about your precious rules than helping patients." "Tom, your appointment is in 20 minutes. This isn't an emergency." He guided her firmly out of the supply closet while the medical assistant started assessing what she'd disturbed. I called our office manager immediately. Tom escorted Karen to a chair right next to the reception desk where he could keep an eye on her. She sat there fuming, arms crossed, muttering about lawsuits and patient rights. When the doctor finally called her back, she acted like nothing had happened, just got up and walked to the exam room like a normal patient. The doctor spent maybe 10 minutes with her, prescribed some anti-inflammatory medication, and recommended physical therapy. No brace, no procedure, nothing that required a scalpel. After she left, our office manager filed a formal incident report and banned her from the clinic. We had to inventory the entire supply closet to make sure nothing was missing or contaminated. The medical assistant who'd first found her kept saying the same thing over and over. Medical assistant, she was going to operate on herself. With her teeth opening the package. In our supply closet. Tom added a note to our security protocols about keeping supply closet doors locked at all times now. Something we'd never needed before because we assumed people had common sense. Apparently, YouTube Medical School doesn't teach patience. Story 4. I've worked retail for about 5 years now, mostly stocking shelves and helping customers at a big grocery store chain. It's not glamorous work, but it pays the bills while I'm finishing my business degree at the community college. I've seen all kinds of customers over the years, but nothing prepared me for what happened last Thursday afternoon. I was restocking canned goods in aisle 7 when I heard a loud crash followed by someone yelling. The sound echoed through the whole store. I dropped what I was doing and rushed toward the noise, which came from aisle 12 where we keep the baking supplies. When I got there, I saw a woman standing over another shopper whose cart had been knocked sideways. Boxes of cake mix and bags of flour were scattered all over the floor. The victim looked shaken, gripping her cart like she was trying to steady herself. Me, is everything okay here? What happened? The standing woman turned to look at me. She had this wild look in her eyes, like she was the one who'd been wronged somehow. She was dressed in flowing clothes with crystals hanging around her neck. Karen. I was walking down the aisle in my designated direction. She was going the wrong way. I looked at the other shopper, an older lady probably in her 60s, who still looked stunned. Other shopper, I was just shopping. She came around the corner and deliberately rammed into my cart. She pushed it so hard it almost knocked me down. Me, ma'am, there's no designated direction in the aisles. Customers can shop however they need to. Karen, not according to spiritual traffic rules. This aisle flows north to south on Thursdays. Everyone should know that. The energy patterns are very clear. I stood there for a second, trying to figure out if this was some kind of joke. But she was completely serious. Her face had this self-righteous expression like she'd just explained something obvious to a child. Me, I'm going to need you to calm down and help clean up this mess. You can't just ram into other people's carts. Karen, I didn't ram into anything. I was asserting my right of way. She violated the natural flow of the universe by going south to north during a northbound energy cycle. The older woman had started picking up the items that had fallen from her cart. Her hands were shaking. I bent down to help her while keeping an eye on the other woman. Other shopper, I've been shopping here for 20 years. I've never heard anything so ridiculous in my life. Karen, that's because you're spiritually unaware. Some of us are attuned to the cosmic patterns that govern physical space. You wouldn't understand. Me, ma'am, I need you to stop. You damaged another customer's property and endangered her safety. I'm calling my manager. I pulled out my radio and called for the store manager. While we waited, the woman just stood there with her arms crossed, acting like she was the victim in all this. She kept muttering something about blocked chakras and negative energy. My manager arrived within a couple minutes. His name is Derek, and he's been managing this store for over a decade. He's seen everything. Manager, what's going on here? I explained the situation while the older woman nodded along. The other woman interrupted several times to talk about energy flows and spiritual directions. Manager, so you intentionally rammed your cart into another customer's cart. Karen, I was following the natural laws of energy movement. She was disrupting the harmonic balance of the store by traveling in the wrong direction. I had to correct the imbalance. Manager, that's not how shopping works. You assaulted another customer. Karen, assault. I was defending the spiritual integrity of this space. You should be thanking me for maintaining proper energy channels. The manager pulled out his phone and started recording. Smart move, I thought. This woman was clearly unstable. Manager, I need you to leave the store immediately. You're no longer welcome here. Karen, you can't ban me. I'm a paying customer. I spend hundreds of dollars here every month. Manager, I absolutely can ban you. You endangered another customer based on some made-up rules about spiritual directions. You're banned for life. If you come back, we'll call the police for trespassing. Karen, this is discrimination against spiritually enlightened people. I'll sue. I'll call the news. Everyone will know how you treat customers who are sensitive to cosmic energy patterns. Manager, you're welcome to do that. But right now, you need to leave. She stared at him for a long moment, probably expecting him to back down. When he didn't, she grabbed her cart and stormed toward the front of the store. But instead of leaving quietly, she started shouting about how we were all blind to the truth and how the universe would punish us for disrupting natural energy flows. The manager followed her all the way to the exit to make sure she actually left. I stayed with the older woman and helped her finish picking up her items. Several had been damaged when the carts collided. Me, I'm so sorry about this. We'll replace anything that got damaged, no charge. Other shopper, thank you. I just can't believe someone would do that on purpose. And that excuse about spiritual traffic rules? Is she mentally ill? Me, I honestly don't know. but you won't have to worry about running into her again. I took her to customer service where they replaced her damaged items and gave her a gift card for her trouble. The manager came back and confirmed he'd escorted the woman out and told her she was permanently banned from all locations in our chain. Later that evening, I was restocking shelves again when a coworker came up to me laughing. Apparently, the woman had posted a long rant on social media about being discriminated against for her spiritual beliefs. The post included accusations that we were suppressing ancient wisdom about energy flows in grocery stores. The comments section was filled with people calling her out for being ridiculous. A few pointed out that ramming into someone's cart wasn't spiritual practice, it was just assault. Someone even made a joke about checking which direction their aura was flowing before entering the pasta aisle. The whole thing would have been funny if it weren't for the fact that she could have seriously hurt that older woman. Some people take their delusions way too far and think their personal beliefs give them the right to endanger others. At least the manager handled it properly and made sure she couldn't come back. I still work that same shift on Thursdays. Sometimes when I'm in aisle 12, I think about that bizarre encounter, and I'm always grateful that most customers, even the difficult ones, at least understand that grocery shopping doesn't require following imaginary spiritual traffic patterns.